good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, and I am Beth Christie, your hostess. And In Touch is our weekly public affairs show, which means that at the end of the program, if you are a member of a nonprofit group or organization, you volunteer for a nonprofit group or organization, you are a company here in the Hudson Valley that is helping out nonprofits through either fundraising, getting information out, membership, whatever it is, we'd love to have you on the show to talk about what is important to you. And I'll give you a myriad of ways to get a hold of me. So let me turn on the microphone. Carolyn is back. Carolyn Torella is back. She is the Regional Communications Director in the Hudson Valley American Heart Association. So it's very nice to have you back.
Thank you, Beth. Thanks for having us back, or having me. I guess I'm not us. It's just me.
Well, you are kind of representing a whole bunch of people. So, I'm just saying. But we've also, before we turned the microphone on, talked about how absolutely crazed life is.
Yes.
We talked about stress before we turned the microphone on. We've talked about heart walks. We talked about the month. We talked about how's the year going. Okay, so let's breathe.
Let's just take a breath. Cleansing breath. Okay.
And let's talk about, so what's new?
Well, how have you been? Heart month was good. February was heart month, and it's the shortest month of the year, but it's also packed with so many things.
Right.
And we were so happy to be able to get out a bunch of heart health information to the Hudson Valley to help them save their lives from heart disease and stroke, especially women who don't know enough about the symptoms. So thanks for having us on last time to talk about all that. But this month is also busy, and in March is Nutrition Month, National Nutrition Month. And really, in this month we're kind of focusing on learning habits that will help us live a longer, healthier life. And it really is something that's within our control. When you think about heart disease and stroke, we know that 80% of it is preventable just by simple lifestyle changes that you can make. Whereas, the other 20% is really the congenital stuff or undiagnosed heart problems that have nothing to do with lifestyle, like an arrhythmia or something strange with your heart or something you're born with. So, but 80% of it is preventable just by lifestyle choices like eating healthier. So that's what, I'd like to talk about today is hopefully getting on top of that, because you know how hard it is. You work and you're busy and your family life it's hard to get a good meal on the table. And so it's important to pre-plan.
Yep. That's what I do.
Yep. So it's, on a weekend, if you just spare like an hour to get ahead of it for the week, because otherwise what you end up doing is, like so many of us, we end up in the drive-thru. And there are not that many healthy choices in the drive-thru. And they're even if you go in with the intent to buy something healthy, once you smell all that good stuff, it's over.
Gone.
It's over.
Just completely gone. It is. It's that smell.
You think I'm just going to get a small salad, and you come out with a bag of grease. So don't do that. Try to avoid that.
They know that. They turn the fans on. Right. It's like when you walk in the grocery store and you smell the cookies and the cakes.
Yes.
And you're like, really?
Yes, the burger places release those fans of the broiled burgers at lunchtime just on purpose.
Yep.
But I was talking to a dietitian yesterday, and we were talking about pre-planning your weekly meals. And she said, on Sunday, she just buys a whole bunch of vegetables and fruit, and then she packages the vegetables. She rinses them and packages them for the week. And so every day she can just reach in the fridge in the morning and grab out what she needs of her healthy snacks, but also healthy lunch. So salads. And she on the weekend, she said she kind of eats what she wants. But on the weekdays, especially at lunch and breakfast, she eats very healthy. So that kind of compensates and gets ahead of the nutrition for the week. And I think that's a great idea, because otherwise, how are you supposed to fit in, your 4.5 cups of fruits and veggies per day, which is the American Heart Association recommendation? That's a lot. I mean, if you're just someone who grabs an apple in the afternoon, that's not enough.
That's me.
You're right.
It's not enough.
You're a few cups short.
Yeah.
Right.
Eek.
Whoops. But how do you get ahead of that? So by planning like a salad with some protein on top, like grilled chicken or a piece of fish that maybe you had on the weekend, like a nice grilled salmon, or tuna, which of course is a great fish to have. But also, buying whole grain items. Easy swaps would be, choosing a whole grain bread or cracker instead of a white flour, which has zero fiber and will, especially if you have any blood sugar problems, will jack up your sugar if you have white bread. Or also, making a swap of whole wheat pasta, or even a part like whole wheat pasta instead of white flour pasta, would also give you some more fiber and protein that will balance out your sugar and make it a more filling meal as well. So it's not just that you're also getting fiber, it's that you feel fuller because the fiber does fill you up more. Those are easy swaps. So it's really simple to try and get ahead of that on the weekend. then use those things. So if you boil, if you're just having a pasta meal on the weekend, boil the whole pound of pasta, even if you're only going to use half, and then use that pasta to make like a veggie pasta salad. And that's a nice lunch during the week,
right,
with a small side salad as well. And then add a ton of vegetables in there, and like tomatoes or cucumbers or peppers, or steamed broccoli, or even fresh broccoli if you like it really crunchy. And then add a protein in there, lean protein like pieces of turkey or low-fat cheese. Like those string cheese items, those convenience, that's a good convenience item, low-fat string cheese. Because you could just peel that back, chop it up into little squares, toss it right into your salad or your pasta salad. And now you've got a nice low-fat dairy product, which fills you. It's got protein in there, and you feel satisfied because you're having cheese, and which is nice.
Which is always a beautiful
I love
thing.
cheese. It's Lent right now. If you're giving up stuff, it is hard to give up cheese. I have to say, so I rarely do. But
Yeah, because I'd like to succeed.
Yeah.
I want to have something that is not easy,
right.
But I don't need something that's going to make my coworkers go, here, just eat something.
Just please. Yes, I know. I made the mistake of saying I'm going to give up all sweets, but that doesn't really work because it's everything.
Everything.
That's everything. Like, I'm going to narrow it, I think. All chocolate things. All gooey chocolate things. But it's all in moderation, too, as well. Is that, you can have some of the unhealthier items, desserts and treats, as long as it's a part of your calorie plan.
Right.
But also, infrequently and a small amount. Like taste, focus on it, taste it. It has to do with, really mindful eating as well, which is like, where you sit and actually contemplate the food that you're eating, not just shove it in your mouth while you're watching TV or reading a magazine or something.
Or with me at the end of a busy day, sometimes standing at the kitchen counter.
Right.
Because I have so many things to do. So I just put some stuff on a plate. I stand there and I eat it.
Yes.
And then I eat it so fast, I'm like, I think I was full like 5 minutes ago. I think, yeah.
Right,
okay.
and food is really something, it's not only for nourishment, it's something that you enjoy, and you should get some pleasure from it. And if you don't look at it while you're eating, you cannot remember that you tasted it or enjoyed it at all. And actually, I was telling you before that Dr. Lubna Samji is this doctor in the county, and she works with us with some people who are trying to change their lifestyle, and she has this thing where we sit down and we kind of like look at raisins. You have to just line them up, and you get like 3 or 5 raisins, and you have to kind of look at the raisin, consider the raisin, what the raisin's going to taste like when you finally get to eat it. Then you take one raisin, you smell it, you put it on your mouth, you don't chew it yet, you just taste it, then you chew it and you think about how that tastes, and then you swallow, you wait, and then you do another raisin. And the whole process should take minutes. When you think about it, it's like 3 raisins.
Yeah.
When you think about when you're home, how much food can you shovel in your mouth?
Open those little boxes and pour them in your hand and be like,
yeah, there goes 50. Right.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, that's probably not the best.
Not
thing to
mindful
do.
eating, right? You're
No,
not chewing,
right.
at least indigestion and
Yes.
overeating, which is really a big problem. So, so it's important that if you are, you're going to eat, to enjoy it, take the time and focus on the meal. Like, shut out everything. Don't read. Don't watch a TV. Don't do anything. Don't go on your phone, because you won't acknowledge that you're eating. You won't remember it. You won't feel full. You'll eat too quickly. You won't chew properly. And then you're going to be hungry in a few minutes. So you're going to be like, did I eat that candy bar? No, I'm going to have another one.
Well, and that's what happens when we help take care of our grandson. I've noticed what we do with him is we sit down at the dining room table, after school for the day and after preschool, and we'll eat. And I have discovered that I eat, not that I pile my plate crazy full, but I stop eating sooner when I'm sitting down, we're having a conversation, talking about the day, and I'm done. Like, I'm satisfied, as opposed to when I am standing at the counter because I'm on the phone with somebody or something. There's an issue that we're taking care of, or I've just put a load of laundry in and I got 10 minutes. This is my chance to eat. And then I got to go down the stairs and I've got to get the laundry, and then I've got to start food because I cook for my mother-in-law as well as for us. So that's how come with me, I do pre-plan.
Right. So you're a sandwich person. you're sandwiched between taking care of older people and younger people and yourself.
Yes.
And I bet you $5 that yourself is being
the
sacrificed. Is the last person on the agenda.
On the list.
Right.
Yeah, but I do, with cooking for someone else who has we have to be careful with her.
Right.
Like, I use very little salt. I've been doing
That's
that
good.
for a long, long time. Watching with her, she has to watch proteins because of some things. So I've educated myself. I'm certainly not an expert, but I have educated myself. The biggest thing is, like what I will do is I get lean chicken, skinless chicken breast, right? And if you don't, I don't
Yes,
need to take
go.
it, but I cut the chicken breasts in half horizontally, and I put them on a baking sheet, put a little bit of olive oil over them.
Yep.
And a little bit of a whatever seasoning you want, and I bake them in the oven. And then when I take them out, I put them in freezer zippy bags and I mark them so I know. So when I come home and if I'm crazed, I can still put together a nice salad with a protein because I've already got it cooked and I already have it done. I can do a pasta and I can take out the chicken and I can put it on there. I do a chicken and apple salad.
Ooh, nice. Mm-hmm.
I can do that.
Yes.
So that's what I do. That saves me on a Sunday because those chicken breasts are huge and nobody is eating
it's a very
all that
large
at once.
thing. Yep.
Yeah.
No,
So I
that's
cut them
great.
in half horizontally, cook them, boom, done.
Right.
It takes 20 minutes?
Right. And
at
then you could
350?
also put them in, you could put them in a tortilla with sauteed vegetables. Now you have a little Mexican food. You could throw them in a brown rice casserole with broccoli and put it in the oven.
Done and we're good to go.
And you have it.
That works for me. I've also cooked rice and put it in the freezer.
Yes, rice freezes really well.
It does. I didn't think it did, but it does.
Right, and no, it does. And it looks weird when you take it out, but you just have to add a little, couple tablespoons of water, and it's fine.
Totally
and
works.
It's fun. Yep.
So like you said about the box of pasta, do the whole thing because you can use it. And with rice, I'll do 2 to 3 cups of rice. It's obviously going to double in size. Yep. Put some in the freezer, and then I'm like, boom, boom. So that is something that if anyone doesn't do, that will so help you.
And when you think about the cost savings as well, like people are, concerned about their budget and for food and stuff, and they say, well, healthy food's expensive. Well, it's not more expensive than buying your food out, which is unhealthy. You can't control the sodium or fat or portion, really.
Right.
So if you do it ahead of time, like you say, like you cook a couple of cups of brown rice or a combination of brown, white, or whatever, and you put it in there, or even if you're making your own rice, like pilaf, to make your own, not use a box mix. Because when you look at the sodium content there, scary. Yeah. And the American Heart Association recommends a limit of 1,500 milligrams per day for people, especially who have some health issues. It can be a little bit more if you're healthy and your blood pressure's in the right range. But taking the sodium out of your diet will really help on a lot of levels with bloating, which can add to a lot of illnesses, problems with arthritis and that kind of thing, but also cardiovascular issues. Retaining water is not a good thing.
I don't do well on the fruits and vegetables, but I got the salt thing down.
Good. But you're doing okay. If you have a salad, right, but if you have a salad with apples in it, that's like probably 2 to 3 servings. I
have to do that better. I have to do that more. But
here's an easy way, right? So we have, so you have to, when we go on like supermarket tours, we take a nutritionist with us and we go for like healthy lifestyle supermarket tour. And I'll tell you that the majority of the time that we go, we spend most of our time in the produce aisle and talking about produce, because that's where you should be spending most of your time when you're eating, is in the produce and section, but also the freezer section, which really they freeze at the site of picking, so it's actually just as healthy as the fresh. But so many people haven't tried all those beautiful vegetables in the produce aisle. When you think about the green leafy vegetables, kale and all the chard,
I gotta tell you,
lettuce and
kale and
escarole.
I are not friends.
It's okay though.
Kale and I.
There's other
ones I got, but kale I tried it. My husband.
How did you try it?
Well,
what was it? How was it prepared?
Well, my husband juices a lot, and he just kind of makes up his own stuff, and it smells like someone has mowed the lawn in our kitchen.
Kale, yes.
So I'm like, okay. And then I tried a kale with, I forget what dish it was, and you saute it or you let it wilt, I think is more.
Right.
Kale
it's a very fibrous leafy green. So they actually recommend when you're having it raw, like in a salad, that you actually take the leaves and rub them between your fingers and your palm and actually massage, it's called, the kale, because it loosens up the fibrous texture of it. And when you chop it and eat it, it's easier to chew. So that is a difficulty. But if you slice it up real thin and put it in a salad, you won't even notice it. It really is just blends into the background.
Maybe I just need to do something else.
But you don't have to have kale. Although kale is actually a protein. It's actually a protein source, which is interesting. Because it's a vegetable, you would think, right? But it does have.
That's why my husband's like, we totally have to have this. And
I went, like when you have kale in a juicer thing, you don't need to add like yogurt because it has protein in it.
Yes,
but that's if you don't like that one, there's a whole other 825 other vegetables that you could try.
Okay, I'll get there.
But you can but adding the dietitians usually talk about when you eat your fruit and vegetables, and they say kind of lean in the morning to have your fruits, because the sugar's in the morning, and then kind of add your vegetables later on. So,
Okay.
what's a good sample breakfast, right, to have in the morning where you're going to start getting your fruits? So you could have a whole grain cereal, like a low sugar whole grain cereal with low fat milk, and you could add berries on there. Berries are phenomenal. Blueberries are terrific for preventing a lot of illnesses, including heart disease. There's been some recent studies. Any kind of berries, frozen or fresh. You could have an apple. You could chop up an apple and put that. I like to actually take an apple and dice it up into little pieces and then put a little bit of water, put it in the microwave for like 35 seconds just to soften the apple. And then I put that fresh apple into my oatmeal.
Oh, okay.
Now, oatmeal is another one of those things that you can make on a Sunday and eat that for almost the whole week. And it stays fine. You just add a little milk or water to it to when you reheat it. And when you're sweetening that, you don't need to sweeten it with sugar necessarily, or even honey or maple syrup. You could just use the fruit as the sweetener. And that is really more than enough sugar. Like the apple sweetness is a lot of sugar inside the oatmeal. So that's a great breakfast, a whole grain cereal or a warm cereal with the fruit, or even just fruit plus yogurt. Like you can make yourself a really pretty parfait and feel like you're getting a little treat in the morning by having this beautiful parfait with low fat, either Greek yogurt or just regular old plain yogurt. Vanilla, you can put your own vanilla, because sometimes the vanilla ones have a lot of sugar, so you can add your own vanilla. Add the berries, and then you could top it with some oats that maybe you've toasted in the oven for just a few minutes when you're baking something else. And then you have your own, like granola. I don't know if you've looked, but granola is expensive.
Yes.
Like the kind that prepared with the oats and the raisins and nuts. Like you can make that. Just Google it. How to make your own granola.
Really,
it's so simple because, a whole giant container of oats costs you like $2 or $3 at the supermarket, the store brand. And, you could fill a tray 3 or 4 times with the oats in that container and then add a couple of nuts and raisins after the fact. And you've got yourself toasted granola, and it only costs you $2 or $3 for tons of it.
Yes. Especially sometimes, and if you get the bars in the snack machine because you forgot to buy the package at the store, not that that's ever happened to me. Then you realize you're spending 75 cents for these 2, and you're like, okay, so the money you saved at the it's gone.
Yes,
it's just gone. Yeah, okay.
So yes, it goes under the heading of plan your meals.
Yeah.
But also, maybe we kind of jumped the gun there where we just launched right into it. But we really do, if we're talking about nutrition and healthy eating, getting to a healthy weight, because 60% of Americans are overweight or obese, and 1/3 of children are, which is the really frightening thing, that this generation of kids growing up actually has a shorter life expectancy than the previous generation. So that's frightening to think that, I might live to 72, but my kids might only live to 68. Why? Because of lifestyle choices. That's the only reason. There is no other reason. So why? Because we're feeding them unhealthy foods. We're making junk food accessible to them by buying soda all the time, or by, having unhealthy meals, by not teaching them, like our parents taught us maybe, how to cook in the kitchen with them and have them participate in meals. Or with gardening, because we know that when kids participate in cooking their own meals and also gardening, that they actually will choose healthier foods.
Yep.
So it's almost like a back to basics thing. We really need to overhaul what we're feeding our children, but also in our families. If you're enabling your children to eat those things. And I remember when my kids were little, we used to see kids at the bus stop with power drinks and sugary things. It's just, that was their breakfast. And I was like, well, what did you actually have for breakfast? It was like, well, this is the breakfast. Or, an energy drink. And I thought,
I'm like, no.
You're 12. That's not a breakfast for a 12-year-old. It's really not a breakfast for anyone, let alone a 12-year-old. And that's how you end up with, a lot of health issues. Diabetes in kids. Type 2 diabetes used to be an illness for just adults, and now it's something we see in children, which is frightening because it's actually a lifestyle choice that they're choosing this sugary stuff over healthy foods, and they're gaining weight, and now their body is suffering because of it. And that's unfortunate. That's something that it doesn't ever need to happen. When you think about all the things, that kids could be sick with, it shouldn't be type 2 diabetes,
Right.
So we know how to fix that one. That's a lifestyle choice. So starting, off, we should know how many calories we need to have per day, based on our, and there's some, how big you are, but also how active you are in your life, and know what the calories are. So you can go on at the American Heart Association, heart.org/myfats translator, which I know is an odd place to find your calories, but it is. That's where we have it. But you can put your height and your weight and stuff and your activity level. It'll give you the number of calories estimated that you should have per day. And then you can start kind of figuring out what you eat in a day and kind of where you're getting your calories. And some of the, there's a lot of diet groups out there that offer a lot of calorie measuring type of resources and online and stuff, and there's apps for that, and it's a really good idea, especially like in the first month of you planning to do some weight loss, that you use one of those apps, because it does teach you a lot about where your calories are coming from if you're eating kind of the same things all the time. Like maybe you didn't know that having more than 6 tortilla chips at the Mexican place was really, you were eating a bowl full, and that you've exceeded your calories in just one bowl of tortilla chips, like for the day.
Right.
Or that, having cheese, which is really high in calories, or nuts even, like you think, oh, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating nuts. There's a lot of calories in nuts. So it doesn't matter where your calories are coming from. If you take in more calories than you burn, you're going to gain weight. So if you don't know why you're not losing weight, and you think you should be because you're eating what you think is healthier, that could be why. It's just because your calories burned versus taken in is off. So start with that. That's the first one. And then start figuring out where your calorie sources are and where you can make some changes. And it doesn't have to be all at once. You don't have to throw out all of your white flour pasta for only whole wheat and then hate it.
Right. There's moderation and things that you can change, because we'll do whole wheat pasta. The grandson is not that impressed with it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But, you kind of mix it, you kind of slowly, you kind of transition, is it?
Or you could do you call it like
color?
black and white pasta day or brown and white pasta day.
Yeah.
And you cook, it takes 2 cookings, but you cook a white flour pasta, you cook a whole, and then you mix half and half when you're making your recipe. And now it's like, ooh, this is fun, right? Brown and white pasta day.
Right.
And for kids, you can make it fun, but also for your, loved ones. You can be like, we're having this.
There is no discussion on this.
This isn't a restaurant. You're not ordering off the menu, is my favorite saying. But also just trying to, when you think about your meals, you're eating 3 squares and probably some snacks, where you can add in the fruits and vegetables, because that's really where your calorie savings is going to come. So if you think about a plate, right, 3/4 of your plate half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. The other half should be split between the whole grains and then a lean protein. So that's the USDA food plate. If you just Google USDA foodplate.gov, you'll see it, and it's half fruits and vegetables. And so when you think about your standard plate, maybe an American plate for dinner would be maybe meat, a big slab of meat, like a steak or chicken or lamb or pork, and then a little bit of vegetable over here, and then probably a lot of, maybe potatoes, like fried potatoes or mashed potatoes or whatever, some kind of white flour potato or, white potato. Which isn't, even though it's a vegetable, isn't the best choice for a vegetable. It's very high in sugars and it doesn't have as much fiber as like a sweet potato or some whole grains. So when you think, you'd have to just kind of invent what your dinner looks like to have it half veggies and fruit and then a little bit of protein. So a standard serving of protein on a healthy diet would be 4 ounces, which is about the size of a deck of cards. So if you just get that image in your head and think, am I eating too much protein at my dinner? You probably are.
Yeah.
Because like you say, like it's good to cut the chicken breast in half horizontally, because that is probably in a 4-ounce serving what you're creating by cutting it.
Yeah, because they're too big, and I find that nobody is eating them.
Right, and then you waste.
And exactly. Yep. So why do that? Just cut it before I cook it, and then it's easier, and I know.
Yes.
And it's not that I was like, oh, we have to be crazy concerned of portion. I just was like trying to plan, and then it was healthier, and they were baked, and they weren't fried.
Right.
And,
no, that's perfect. Yep.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, and when it gets a little warmer, you'll be grilling, and that's just as healthy as well.
Right.
And like you say, to pre-plan. But you think about your plate, get more fruits and veggies on there, and try new vegetables. And with kids especially, it takes up to 10 times of introducing that food to a child before they'll like it. So don't give up. The first couple tries.
Right.
You have to keep trying. And also a good tip, the nutritionists tell us, is that when it's dinner time and you're going to be, having a dinner at a table, which you should, and sit down and make time for dinner, to have the kids involved in prep. And obviously, the safe things that they could do, like, tearing up lettuce or putting a salad together, putting the tomatoes and the cucumbers in a bowl and tossing it. That's fun. Or setting the table. But then also not to feed them too close to the dinner time, because then they won't desire any food at the table, and they won't be more willing to try if they're full, especially with sugary drinks. Like to cut out the sugary drinks with kids especially. Right. And start with that, and and then start trying to add. Once you get one down, you're like, maybe you've added spinach this week and a salad, and the kids like it because they can't really tell the difference between cut lettuce or spinach. Spinach is a high, vitamin, mineral content veggie. That's a great veggie. So if you got them going on that, and you put that in a sandwich or whatever, you're good. You're good to go.
You've done a good thing.
Right, and just keep going with that one, and then add another one in a couple weeks. Find a new way to make it fun. Pinterest is a phenomenal resource for fun things to do with food for kids. And, there's just all these creative people out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's there. Just go in. Like, I'm like blown away of how people can make it, a plate of veggies look amazing for children, like, and cut fruit and stuff. And I'm like, I never thought of that. We were just like, eat that tomato.
There it is. It's on the plate.
Just eat it because I said so. And now they're like, ooh, this tomato is the best thing ever. Because they have it like with a toothpick and like an umbrella.
It looks like a Picasso painting or something. So, Carolyn, we have about 5 minutes left of the show.
Yeah.
So, which is just proof of how you should just be here so much more often.
I'm just going to move in.
I think you just should.
You have an extra studio. I'll just pop by. Let's talk about Heart Walk then.
Yes, let's wrap up the show talking about that.
Because we're excited. You guys, Town Square Media is phenomenal supporters of our Heart Walks in the Hudson Valley. We're so grateful for all of you help with those events for years and years. And we know coming up, we have one of our biggest ones is the Duchess Heart Walk, and that's on March 25th. And we have a new location for that as well, which you're probably hearing on the PSAs, at Marist College. Mm-hmm. So we're heading towards the river for this one. And then we have another one in Ulster County, in Kingston. I'm sorry, forget I just said that. We're having another one in Ulster County on April 2nd at SUNY New Paltz, which we swapped to last year. So we're excited about that. Vince Amodio is our chair, and he does a great job. And we have these two wonderful little kids who are junior honorees, Madison Dailies and Matt Burchell. And they're just a testimony to how important it is to have research and science.
Yes.
And that's what the Heart Walks fund is research, because, they wouldn't be here today without the progress that science has made in treatments of congenital heart defects, which both of them have different ones. But it's beautiful that they're there. And, when you see them run around and when you think about what they had wrong with their heart, especially Madison, she had multiple things wrong with her heart, and she had to have surgery as a baby. The fact that she's running around and talking, and God bless, right? It's just beautiful.
Yes.
But you can register for those at DuchessUlsterHeartWalk.org. And, of course, we'd like to thank our co-sponsor, the Heart Center of Astor Brothers Medical Center in Northern Dutchess Hospital. And then we have more regional walks coming up. The Putnam Heart Walk is on April 23rd at Brewster High School.
Oh, cool.
And the Tri-County Heart Walk, if you don't want to walk in the colder months, you can wait till spring. That's May 7th at Harriman State Park. And that's real pretty, too. That goes around the lake.
Yeah.
And it's a real pretty walk. A lot of great support from that one. So that's the three kind of heart walks, or four really heart walks coming up. And we're so grateful for teams. Like if you want to walk as a team, you grab your coworkers or your family or some neighbors, and you can walk, for yourself, for your own heart. Or you could walk in memory of someone. Maybe you've lost someone and you want to do so in memory of them, or in honor of someone who survived heart disease or stroke, or even someone who's making a healthy lifestyle change, who you want to honor, to demonstrate that, as we said, the first thing in the show, that 80% of heart disease and stroke is preventable by exercising and eating right. Quitting smoking, of course, is another big one. But, there's so much going on. And then, of course, on the first Wednesday of April is National Walking Day. So if you've missed the walks in Dutchess and Ulster and you want us to walk, we'd love, to see your photos on our social media pages as well, to come and share all your National Walking Day photos on our Facebook page, which is AHA New York, or on Twitter, HV Heart ASSOC for like association. And we're on Instagram as well, AHA New York. So we're everywhere on the social media. Come and tag us and like us and follow and all that stuff. And then you'll stay in touch with our events, but also our life-saving health information that's coming up throughout the months that you might see, or maybe learn how to do CPR through one of our posts that could save a life. So much.
Just what we talked about today, nutrition. Like you say it's 80% can be changed. Right. We can impact on how we move, how much we move, what we eat, how much we eat, when we eat it, all those things. So if you educate yourself, and you don't have to, I think sometimes people get overwhelmed and think, I either have to change everything or not at all. Right. Well, no, you don't. Just do one thing. Right. Get that out of routine.
Yes, and I will tell you that there was a study just last year that said that if you just added one fruit or vegetable to your diet every day, that 40,000 lives could be saved just from adding one serving of fruit and vegetables, because that's the impact that just that one lifestyle change can make. So it really does make a difference because when you add more fruits and vegetables, you're squeezing out the bad food. That's the intent. And you're fuller with the healthier food as well.
Yeah.
But you're giving your body nutrients that it needs to fight heart disease and stroke and other serious illnesses like cancer. So it really is a win-win-win. You can't lose with fruits and vegetables. So get those on your plate. Start adding them to your sandwiches, to your salad, to your yogurt. Instead of having chips for your snack, have a little one of those cute tangerines. I love those.
Oh,
those
yeah.
easy
Those little,
peel.
yeah.
They're so portable too.
They're easy. They come with their own container.
Yes,
You don't
I
have
think
to
some
wrap
of them are
with
even called
anything.
like smileys or something.
Something,
I love these things.
Yes, they're just too cute.
So throw a
Cute
couple in your
food
purse.
That's good for you.
That's right.
You got to love it. So, Carolyn, any closing comments, final thoughts you'd like to leave with folks this morning?
I think that anything that you're doing is a positive lifestyle change, stick with it. I know it's hard, but it really is worth it because the change you make will not just be for today; it'll be for your future. And every change you make that's maybe a little bit difficult today, imagine what the payoff will be in the long run. So you can spend more days with your family, your friends, your loved ones in a healthier and stronger life as well, not just healthier.
Yes, very cool. Carolyn, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And thanks to you guys. Hopefully there's some things you can take away that you can motivate you for today or in the coming week. You can listen to this show on the website of whatever station you're listening to this morning. So just head there, and in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see keyword. Just type in touch, and this show will come up, and you'll be able to hear it. We'll also have an article around it, and we'll have links to the websites that Carolyn talked about. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. As I started the show, if you would like to be on the program, if you're a member of a nonprofit group or organization helping out one of ththose organizations, here's how you can get a hold of me. The phone number 845-471-1500. My extension is 159. Email is beth.christy, CHRISTY, at townsquaremedia.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're there. Just reach out. We'd love to have you on the show. Take care of yourself and those you love, and we'll see you right here next week.